All right, well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. There are really two key stakeholders that we serve. We have entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are small business owners that are looking for funding to start or grow a business. And because of a couple grants we've received, we're able to assist them in a meaningful way. And I'll highlight that momentarily. And then secondly, we work with our distribution partners. Our distribution partners, I think, are best really referred to as educators. And our distribution partners help spread the word so we can help more people through the grant program, and our distribution partners are paid. So I'm going to cover that in detail as well. So we're going to pivot between two different websites, as what's shared now is 509pacific.org. So as stated here, 509 Pacific is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have been for several years. I actually did not form that organization. There was a different organizer and board, but recently we've taken over management of that nonprofit. So 509 Pacific has its own phone number. The new phone system should be live today, and its own email address. So our nonprofit organization is primarily focused on going out to the marketplace to educate. And this plays an important role for you, regardless if you are someone looking for funding as far as an entrepreneur, and or if you're someone looking to get paid to help others. This is very relevant. Now, it's not a misrepresentation. This 4-week training program is 100% free. So with that, there's no cost to the participant, and there's no money made off of it. It's free. But it's a remarkable way for us to do two things: to help educate entrepreneurs about what it means to have a fundable business. And I know we say this so often, you're probably tired of hearing it, but let's go back to the basics. Most small business owners want or need money to start or grow a business. That's a fact. The problem isn't that there's not money out there. There's lots of banks and lenders and credit unions and cities and small towns and online. There's no shortage of money. The problem typically is the entrepreneur is not quote unquote fundable. They don't meet the underwriting criteria. And worse yet, they often don't even know what that means to be fundable. So our educational program is great for individuals looking for funding to start or grow a business, but either they don't have a fundable business or they're not sure what that means. So this curriculum is taught over 4 weeks, and it's taught typically online. And from that, then the participants are well educated on what it means to have a fundable business. Let's talk about how this curriculum can play into the role for those of you who are distribution partners. We encourage, we plead with those of you that are our distribution partners, understand this curriculum and then go out and find strategic partners, churches, chambers, co-working spaces, organizations, trade schools, bookkeepers, tax preparers, anyone or any organization that has a sphere of influence of small businesses, because then you can facilitate where we bring this curriculum, this 4-week curriculum, specifically to their sphere of influence. So let's be very clear with an example. We have Gary on here. So let's say that Gary knows a faith-based leader. Doesn't matter of the church or denomination, but Gary, and it doesn't matter if Gary's a member of the church, but Gary knows a bishop in a church. And Gary says, hey, did you know that I'm now working with a 501c3 nonprofit? We've received a grant to teach the Entrepreneurship Funding Program. 100% free, very relevant, very practical. So Bishop, do you think that any of your congregation might be looking to start a business or already have a small business, but they need education and funding to reach their potential? And most likely the bishop, if he is in touch with his congregation, will say yes, because approximately 1/3 of society, according to recent surveys, either have a small business or would like to start a small business, but they need funding. So you take any group of people, typically 1 out of 3, even if it's a church, I didn't say a chamber, a church, typically fall into this. So then what we can do, then Gary can facilitate this, and I'll explain the benefit to Gary as a distribution partner in a moment. Then we can set up a 4-week online curriculum specifically for the congregation of that church. So it's a closed session, only those congregation members can attend. So that provides great value to the congregation. No bait and switch. It's exactly as promoted. But from Gary's perspective, Gary realizes as we're teaching about business plans and business formations and business credibility, the 3 C's, and about business funding, Gary knows that on average, 9 out of 10 of the people that go through this curriculum will be very interested in the 4-week business funding program. So this is the education, this is the implementation of that education. Well, what's in it for Gary? Well, let's say that Gary facilitates and we have 100 people from that congregation go through. The number's not important, but I'm just using a round number. So if Gary sets up we can call it a workshop, if you will, but with a church, a chamber, co-working space, some sort of key influencer. Because what Gary and I don't want to be doing is going and finding people to attend the class. On a 1-by-1 basis, that would be very exhaustive. It's okay to do it, but it'd be very exhausting. But Gary's too smart, right? Gary's not going to go out and try to find 100 individuals to go through this course. Too much work. Gary instead will find one key influencer that we can essentially have a collaborative session with, co-branded session with. So then if 100 people, just using a round number, goes through this, on average, Gary will enroll 90 of them into the implementation side, the 4-week funding program. So we're actually implementing what we've taught. So with Gary or any of you, the way that we've set this up, you can be set up as a white label partner, and we're not charging you for that. So as a white label partner, when a participant enrolls in the 4-week funding program, they're not enrolling with us. They're enrolling through you. So you control the branding, you control the pricing, but I'm going to reference the normal pricing that we see everyone using. So then Gary will have a white label partnership relationship with us that doesn't cost anything. And then so those clients, or I'm sorry, those attendees that have gone through the curriculum, those that want our help, and we have some real clear deliverables that they receive, Gary's going to make $1,000 a piece off of those. $1,000 upfront a piece, plus he'll make 5% or more off the back end of their capital raise. So I'm not a math major, but if we had 100 people go through this and 90% convert, which is on average, Gary just made $90,000. Now it's a big number. We can dumb it down. Let's say 10 people. Maybe you're more comfortable with the small number. It's all, the numbers are going to be based upon the key influencers you're working with. If you have a strong key influencer with a strong organization, we're going to have a big number. If you have a weak key influencer of a weak organization, it's going to be a small number. But we don't have minimum, so we'll work within it. Let's dumb it down and say 10 people then, if that makes you more comfortable. So 10 people went through this, through the bishop's recommendation to his congregation, 100% free. Then statistically, 9 out of 10 of them will say, yeah, I want help implementing what I just learned. They'll sign up through Gary, through his white label partner. and Gary will make $1,000 a piece. And so then that's $9,000. And so we will teach, we will assign an instructor to teach this, but Gary is kind of a co-instructor. He's the facilitator. So Gary will get credit for all the enrollments that come from this process. So Gary's got a pretty nice gig now, right? Gary's able to just go out and find key influencers, tax preparers, bookkeepers, accountants, so forth. And so then Gary sets up a collaborative relationship with them. Now, Gary may want to do a revenue split. I didn't mention that. So let's say that Gary offers some portion of the revenue generated back as a contribution to the church. Maybe it's a 10% tithing. So go through the numbers again. So Gary approaches a bishop about us teaching this program to the bishop's congregation. The bishop facilitates an enrollment. We get 10 people to enroll, generates no revenue because there's no cost. 10 people go through the course. On average, 9 out of them will then want help implementing with a 4-week business funding program. Gary makes $1,000 a piece, $9,000, and then if he's tithing or 10% contribution back, he's donating $900 to the church. That's up to you. So what we're trying to do is provide greater empowerment to our distribution partners. So by you being set up as a white label partner, which doesn't cost you anything, you'll have an editable copy of the enrollment agreement. So if you want to see what the enrollment agreement is, you go to 4weekfunding.com, click the green button, it pops up. You'll have an editable version of this. It'll pop up in a second. So what you'll do is you'll remove our information and put your information on. And so then you can change the pricing as well as if you want. So who has questions on our approach to go to the marketplace? Number one, we invite you to be a white label partner if you'd like. Doesn't cost anything. Number two, we encourage our distribution partners to lead with education. This is really good information. It's not a sales pitch. It used to be a college course, which is mentioned right here. Myself and several others of us used to teach this as full-time faculty at a community college, a junior college, and it was for credit earning students. So it's good, it's real. And a lot of this is pulling from SBA endorsed material. So you can be a distribution partner if you want. You can help us go find organizations that would like to collaborate with you. We have this course that we set up specifically for that group. All right, so James has got a question. Can he do this without a key influencer? Absolutely, James. So we could set up a course, and we know that it's at no cost. I got ahead of myself. And so this would be just for your people. So we don't want to mix groups because, James, we don't want your people and Eric's people and Gary's people and Greg's people. So everyone that will set up a course specifically for you, doesn't cost you anything, doesn't cost the attendees anything. It'll be once a week for 4 weeks. We'll provide the instructor, someone that's taught this at a college level. You're part of it, of course. And so you're facilitating the registration, so you're not going to lose leads. And then as people are going through this, any of them that want help with implementation then can enroll in the 4-week business funding program with you. So this is really a very clever, ethical, and effective way to help you make a lot more money as a distribution partner. Because a lot of times people are hesitant to pay money to someone that they don't know and they don't trust, even if the proposition sounds good. So the 4-week funding program is great on its own. I mean, we do exactly what we say. It's valuable, it's real. But just getting people to sign up and pay money can be difficult because they don't know if they trust you or trust what you're offering. So what we're going to do, instead of asking them to trust blindly, let's spend 4 weeks with them and educate them. And at any point during the 4 weeks, they don't have to wait to the end of the 4 weeks. At any point during that 4 weeks, you as a facilitator can stay interactive with them. And over the 4 weeks, we know based upon historical averages, 90% of them will enroll in the 4-week funding program. All right, so Sierra's asking some questions. So yes, you're right. So we have an affiliate program, and so you would need to be an affiliate. So you're set up in our system. Sierra's asking, do you need to be an affiliate to be a white label partner? Yes. So once you're an affiliate, then you have two choices, and you can change your mind whenever you want. You can either say, okay, I want to operate as a white label, quote unquote, no cost. And so then we'll provide you the editable agreement. So then you can remove our branding, put your branding on it. You control the pricing, and then you're able to enroll clients. You're paid $1,000 upfront, and you could change that if you want, but that's the norm. That's your portion. That's what you profit, $1,000 each time someone enrolls. And then you're making normally 5% on the back end. 5% of their capital raise. However, what we're really emphasizing today and now and going forward is, why don't we consider leading with education? Because most people don't know what you know, Sierra. We've got a lot of smart people on here this morning. We got Corinthian and Dorothea and several Erics, 4 Erics, Ernest. Excuse me. A lot of you know what it takes to have a fundable business. But most people don't know what you know. And that's why this curriculum is so important. And so what we found is by taking them through a structured curriculum, it's only 30 minutes a week for 4 weeks, Zoom based. If they can't make a session, they'll be provided the recording. So it's not like if they miss a week because their kid's sick or their car broke down that they're kicked out. But by them going through this, they're going to gain very important information about how to have a fundable business. And then you as a facilitator can check in with them, make sure that they're enjoying the class. And then if they would like, they can bump up, if you will, to the 4-week business funding program. Matches the 4-week curriculum, but now we're actually providing the deliverables, which we just simply can't provide for free. So we're actually providing the business plan software. So here, certainly we're talking about business plans and we're educating them, but we're not actually building the business plan for them / with them. Here, we actually are, right? So the difference between this is purely educational, which is needed, but we're not doing the implementation with them. If they move over to this, then, then they're getting a bunch of free items and we're actually doing the implementation with them. So hopefully that makes sense. This is a very ethical, legal, proven process. Go to the marketplace, offer something free that is valuable in its own right, and then have a buy-up option afterwards. It's called a freemium process. Like if you go to Facebook, how much did you pay to sign up for Facebook? Nothing. Or LinkedIn. I think both of those are still free, but they have buy-up options. So that's what we're doing, is we're using in business strategy terms a freemium offer. Free is free. No, nothing to be misled, but then there is a premium offering that they can upgrade to. And statistically, 90% of the people that we educate will bump up. All right, so Harold has a question. So yes, we've launched this week and we've had incredible response. I'll have to check the numbers this morning, but we're close to 4,000 people, not quite, but close to 4,000 people have already enrolled in the Entrepreneurship Funding Program. And none of those are through groups. Those are just individuals that received our communication and have contacted us. So we're finishing up getting the infrastructure to handle that type of support. And then we'll be starting this curriculum next week, the first week of September after Labor Day. So this, and you're welcome to go through it yourself if you just want to go through it and audit the course. There's no cost, no strings attached, no contract. You fill out this and we'll put you in the flow. But that's not real for those of you that are distribution partners, like Ernest is on here. I've worked with Ernest for over a year, and I love working with Ernest. But Ernest is not looking to dabble. Ernest is looking to change his financial outlook with this. So what Ernest will do is find those key influencers and then set up a collaborative curriculum, a collaborative workshop. So then that bishop or that preacher or that pastor or that key influencer, or whomever it is then pushing the program out to their sphere of influence, their membership, their congregation. And that's how we enroll massive numbers. We're not going to reach massive numbers going one by one. It's fine to do one by one, but your large numbers are going to come from groups, organizations, and key influencers that you can approach under your own branding. So you're not going out representing us. We'll get you set up, no cost as a white label partner, and then you'll go out with your own branding. So the contract won't have our logo on it. It'll have your logo on it. It won't have our information. It'll have your information and so forth. So this is great. We're going to provide we'll teach the courses for free for your classes. We will facilitate the implementation of the 4-week funding program for everyone you enroll. You make $1,000 upfront, and then you make 5% normally off each client's capital raise. Those are numbers that you can control. You can change if you want. All right, so we have a few individual questions, so let me do a couple things. Let me scroll down and make sure that you have our direct contact information. So if you need to reach us at the 501c3, here's our direct contact information if you have something that's best suited for one-on-one. But I'm looking for your feedback. You know, for any of you that's looking at generating a significant income, this is a great model. And really, it removes the selling out of the equation. We're going to go find groups to educate. Could be individuals, and as we put them together, they're a group. But we'll have classes that we hold specifically for your participants. No cost to you, no cost to them, over 4 weeks. And then at any time during that 4 weeks, so you're kind of maintaining the contact with them. And so at any time that they would like additional assistance, they can then enroll with you in the white label version of the 4-week business funding program. And then you immediately make $1,000. So Ernest is asking, when's the payout? You make $1,000 upfront the day that they enroll. And then the 5%, which you can make larger, 5% of the payout is normally paid the next day after the client has received funding. So you're paid upfront for each person that goes through the 4-week business funding program, and you're paid afterwards as their capital raise exists. None of us are paid over here. So it's not like, oh, we're making money and you're not, or you're making money and we're not. This is free. So you've got to accept it. There's no strings attached. This is a great way to teach people how to have a fundable business. Now, Todd's bringing up a point, and it's a great point. You're going to have some people that say, I don't need any of this. Oh, this is fine. This is academic. I don't need any of this. I just need funding. And so, of course, the relevant question for you or I or someone to ask them is, well, great, sir or ma'am, do you have a fundable business? Most people don't know what that means. They don't know what that means, and that's why the course exists. But if they say, hell yeah, I've been around the block, I'm not new. I've got one guy who tells me he's savvy. I'm savvy. Great. Well, let's go right to funding. So on 4-week business funding, we can skip all the education. Let's go right down here to number 8. Click this link. It'll pop up, and we'll go to funding today. We'll go to funding today. You don't have to attend some course. You don't have to enroll in some 4-week program. None of that is required, right? If you've got a fundable business, let's just go do it. But that's rare. People usually don't have a fundable business, and usually they don't even know what that means. So how could they have a fundable business if they don't know what it means? So that's why we're leading with education. But just to be clear, we could lead with this, and you could have people that enroll directly in this where you're making money right away. Or maybe they never enroll in this. 1 out of 10 statistically won't. Or maybe they get started and they start seeing the value. Let's say we get over here to week 2. And so what are we educating them here? We're saying, well, to have a credible business, you really need to have a business entity that's different than just yourself. So we really don't want to have a sole proprietorship or even a partnership or a DBA. We should have a structured business entity like an LLC, a S Corp, a C Corp, an entity, because it has more capital raise capacity and also it limits your liability. So we talk to them about that. And we tell them that, well, before you form your business, you need to make sure you have a good address, because lenders care about the type of address you have. It shouldn't be residential or post office box or a shared virtual office. Then you end up filing with the Secretary of State. Then you get your EIN and then your bank account. So this is good 101 education. No one, I don't think, would find fault with it. But then afterwards, you could give them a call. Say, let's say it's Todd, and so then he follows up with his 23 participants afterwards. Hey, Joe, Betty, Sue, what'd you think? Any questions? And remember, we can help you. We can provide you the business address for free, and we can actually file the entity for you for free if you're in the 4-week funding program. So you can see that we have a bunch of deliverables, what I called implementation earlier, that ties to it. So that's why so many people convert, because if they want funding, they're going to need to do these things, unless they already have it, which most don't have an entity that's in good standing. And so either they could go spend money to get an address, or they could get it from Todd for free. They're either going to need to go pay to file with the Secretary of State, or they can get it from Todd for free. They're going to have to get their EIN, bank account. All these steps need to be done. That's factual. They can either do it on their own at their own cost, or they can work with you if you're facilitating that group and get all these deliverables for free, including a $10,000 transfer. And remember, the money that they do pay to go through this, number one, you're determining how much they pay. So you can't come back and say, well, that's too expensive. You're picking the price. Not us. You're picking the price. If it's too expensive, look at yourself in the mirror. But regardless of the price that you're charging them, it's set up as a refundable deposit. It comes back to them from the grant after they complete it. So this ends up being free, but they do have a refundable deposit. You say, well, how much is the refundable deposit? I don't know. Ask you. Don't ask me, ask you. You determine. That's the beauty of the white label partnership. You control the pricing. Powerful. So if you're happy being a simple affiliate, and I don't mean that condescending, that's fine. We give you a landing page, you refer in, you get paid, you do nothing else. And that's perfectly fine. There's a need in our society for affiliates. But if you want to optimize your income and be more involved, then you would want to be a white label partner. Doesn't cost you anything. Then we can provide you leads. We can provide you support in setting up these classes. We can teach the classes for your groups and help facilitate so 90% of these people predictably will enroll. And again, you determine the price, but normally you're making $1,000 profit, not gross income, profit in your pocket for each person that enrolls. And on average, 90% of these people are going to enroll. I don't know how to make it better. This is what we've evolved to. We're excited. It's credible. It's legitimate. If you don't believe it, I guess, come enroll and go through the 4-week program. Register right here. It's free. We're not going to ask you to buy anything. We're not going to ask you to pay anything. To sign a contract. We're behind in processing these, but by the end of the month, we'll be caught up. We've had almost 4,000 people. There's a tremendous demand for capital, but most people don't want classes. Most people don't want programs. They really don't. They just want funding. But once you educate them, hey, you can only get business funding if you have a fundable business. Do you know what that means? Most of them don't. So I think if you look at the Salinos and Sanyas and Terrences of the world, all three are on the Zoom right now, they're saying the hell with going to one by one. Going one by one to entrepreneurs will wear your butt out. But instead, go to key influencers. Let's do this. We can call it a workshop, if you will, but let's teach this program through key influencers, as we've said several times. That's the way to drive volume. Let the bishop enroll, register people within his congregation. Let the chamber executive enroll members within his or her chamber of commerce. You'll wear yourself out chasing after individuals. Go after groups. Key influencers will teach this for the key influencers' sphere of influence. Now, also, let's say that we're doing, and we'll close on this. So let's say that we got Toily here, and Toily is one of my favorite people. So Toily's in Houston, I believe. So let's say Toily goes to a tax preparer, and Toily says, "Hey, I'd like to work with you strategically. We're working with a 501c3 to do a free entrepreneurship funding program. We'd like to work with you to spread the word to your clients and your prospective clients, anyone that's in your database. We've got a great revenue share." But let's say that prospective key influencer tells Toily, "Well, I don't know. I need to see it first." Great. Have that person enroll. It's right here. Have them enroll, and we'll take them through the 4-week process. And I promise you, by the time they go through this 4-week process, they'll be sold. And my final comment, and I'll let you go. I was teaching this in person when I worked for the SBA. So I left the college and went to the SBA. And so when I taught this in person once a month on, I think it was Tuesday or Thursday nights. Now my memory fades, but I would do it one evening. And so I started to have bankers. I had presidents. I am not exaggerating. I'd have presidents of local banks, not like the president of Chase USA, but local banking leaders would come sit in my class to hear what I was talking about. And 9 times out of 10, they would start referring afterwards because they realized we know our stuff. What we're saying is legal, it's ethical, and it's needed. So you have a tremendous opportunity to grow large. If you want to be a simple affiliate, be a simple affiliate. I wouldn't be. I would switch over. I'd be a white label partner. It doesn't cost you anything. Contracts are now in your branding instead of ours. You control the pricing. All right. If you need anything else, let us know, but we will be back tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Bye-bye.